Think about what you've eaten today. If you've strayed too far from the dietary straight and narrow, there's a fair chance you've consumed something called trans fat. Trans fat is every bit as nasty as it sounds. It's a toxic man-made chemical used to increase the shelf life of food. As far as fats go, it's the worst of the worst. It's been banned elsewhere in the world, but here in Australia, it's in everything from fried food to biscuits, clogging our arteries and contributing to appalling levels of heart disease. The question is, why is something so bad for us still on the menu?
There's a lot of cholesterol in two of the arteries there. So.
Today, like every day, Dr. Nick Cox is doing battle with Australia's biggest enemy, heart disease, checking for blocked arteries that could be fatal.
Yeah, a lot of that sort of fatty build-up we see. There's actually a blockage in two of the arteries.
And more often than not, he must deliver news to his patients that is not good.
This is the definitive moment, isn't it, for people?
This is it.
But as a cardiologist, Dr. Cox's fight against heart attack and strokes has become a whole lot harder because of a new scourge that's infiltrated our modern diet.
This is the part where you see the worst of trans fats.
Exactly, we're seeing it now. We're seeing these blockages, and this is the place where you don't want to have it. You don't want to be on this table having this procedure. You want to try and avoid this sort of thing. All right, I better get on with it. I've got a bit of work to do here, so we'll push on.
You may not have even heard of trans fats, but you're probably eating them, and this is what they're doing to you. They alter our cholesterol, inhibiting the good, shown in the blue, and increasing the bad, allowing it to build up in our arteries and form deadly blockages. No other fats have such a catastrophic effect, and believe it or not, their use is deliberate.
Trans fats are the bad of the bad, and they're fats that we should be able to get rid of because they're industrially manufactured, or most of them are, and they're the ones we should be targeting to get rid of.
So there's no reason for us to have them at all.
Well, this is the thing about trans fats, is that they don't serve any purpose. They don't have any beneficial nutritional value. We don't need them in their diet. They don't really add to flavours in foods.
So why are they there?
Because they're cheap and they're easy to use, and they do prolong the shelf life of some foods.
Come on, pick up another piece. Which other piece?
But what price are we paying with our health to extend the use-by dates on our food?
Well done.
Yay, you did it, boys. Well done. Good work.
I'd start to feel some sort of tightness around the neck area, and it'd stop as soon as I stopped exercising. And I put it down initially to some form of throat infection or chest infection. And being an Australian bloke, I
Put it off.
put it off.
As a police officer in his 40s, Jerry Cartwright considered himself fit and healthy when he went into hospital for some tests.
They put me into the theatre, and just lying there, and there's much joviality because the nurses had been to a trivia night, and all of a sudden dead silence. I was having a heart attack there and then on the table.
Good eating, Will.
He's now changed his eating habits, but this father of two admits for years he lived on the policeman's diet, processed food heavily laden with trans fats.
Yes, the policeman's diet.
Fast food, in other words.
Yes.
Convenience.
Yes.
Did you do that for a long period of time?
Yes, and I worked at a surveillance unit where you would be out for extended periods following people around, and there it was almost impossible to have really good food because you would literally not know where you were going to be or what you were doing.
It's not for eating.
In our busy lives, a fast and convenient diet is common. But like Jerry and his wife Julie, most of us aren't aware that so many of our quick, easy meals contain trans fats.
I'd never heard of it before, and it just horrifies me that there's something that's being put in our food that's potentially unhealthy and we're not being told about it, basically.
It concerns me not only for myself, but for my kids. What am I pumping into them that I'm not aware of.
So this is what a trans fat looks like.
Mostly there are oils which have been hydrogenized. In other words, chemically altered in the factory to turn them into solid blocks. And you'll find them in mostly processed products and takeaway foods. Now, it's the industrial processing that seems to make them so nasty, turning them into substances that tend to become sticky, stubborn deposits in our arteries.
Trans fats are made in the factory. Oils are boiled to temperatures above 200 degrees Celsius. Metals are used as a catalyst to change its molecular structure, and with blasts of hydrogen, turns the liquid into a solid.
Are trans fats toxic?
So toxic's a good sort of term. I mean, a toxin's something that poisons you, and trans fats probably over your life are effectively poisoning you. They poison your arteries, they lead to cholesterol depositing into the walls of the arteries. And this is a process we know actually starts at a young age.
How young?
Probably teenagers start to develop cholesterol buildups in their arteries. And we know from studies that have been done in teenagers that can indeed happen.
The fundamental question for you, for me, for all of us is, do I want my food to come from the farmer or the chemist? And right now, trans fat came from the chemist, and it didn't work out for us.
Right now, America is squaring up to the trans fat fight, already successfully banning it in a number of states.
If you want to give yourself an occasional treat, it should be safe. You shouldn't worry that you're harming your child because they're having a cookie.
And at the forefront of the campaign is Mimi Roth.
Was it a hard sell?
You wouldn't believe the headlines in America. They're taking away your donuts. Nobody was taking away anyone's donuts. They're taking away your donuts. They're taking away your cookies. You know, it happened. We haven't had riots. You know, there hasn't been chaos in America. People are still eating their donuts, and hopefully we've saved, even if we've only saved one life, if it happens to be your life, it was definitely worth it.
Trans fats were born in America 100 years ago, championed as the housewife's friend, an ingredient that made baked foods taste better, last longer, and able to be transported further.
You know the rules before we start. Can't leave until you finish.
Appropriately, it's America that's leading the charge to get rid of them.
Oh, what do you got here? Oh, we got an eater. Potential eater.
In New York, trans fats were banned from all foods 3.5 years ago.
Coming aboard.
Oh, God.
Wait, who are you?
That's disgusting.
What is wrong with you? Is she medicated?
And even though it meant some recipes had to be changed, businesses like the world-famous Carnegie Deli barely missed a beat.
And do you think you've got more customers because you don't have
No,
trans
absolutely
fats?
not.
No difference?
No difference.
But it hasn't dropped off either?
No.
While people were happy with the health benefits, a lot of people like Sandy Levine were not happy with bureaucrats being in control of the baking.
I'm showing you all these things about all of our calories, our trans fat. We get a lot of customers from all over the world. No one has ever come in here and asked me to see how much trans fat's in this article right here. Are you interested in trans fat? No. Are you interested in trans fat? No. Are you interested in trans fat? What about you? Yeah, right.
I think that the government's role should not be to tell us what to eat, but should be able to give us the information so that we can decide for ourselves.
In Washington, talks of bans has food lobbyist Justin Wilson in a lather.
Trans fats are bad for us. Well, you're not going to argue that, surely.
No, I'm not saying that they're not bad for us, but people have to put them in context.
Doctors say the safe level of trans fats is 0, and if that's the case, maybe we have to make the choice for consumers.
Oh, see, now I disagree. I think an informed consumer who understands exactly the risk that trans fats pose should be able to make those decisions for themselves.
Oh, we get that. Oh, you're the nanny, you're the food cop, we don't need that. You know, the only reason there was government intervention is because industry failed to act soon enough. They could have averted all of this if they'd gotten on the horn way sooner, but they didn't.
But in Australia, neither industry watchdogs nor the government are ringing alarm bells. We don't have mandatory labelling for trans fats. The federal government believes we don't consume enough to warrant concern.
Heart disease rate is the same as what we're seeing in these other countries. So I just don't buy the argument that Australians have less trans fat.
In America, we have seen a ban on trans fats in some states. Is that the answer?
I think a ban is a good way to go, and a ban always seems complicated and it has philosophical issues. But the thing about a ban is that you can't just label these foods, because a lot of the places where we eat them, you don't read a label, takeaway or restaurants. You don't read a label before you eat those foods.
If we took trans fats out of the diet, do you believe we would see a direct correlation in a reduction in heart disease?
It's a good question, Liz. And what we would expect to see is probably about a 20% reduction in the risk of coronary events.
In Europe and America, trans fats are now recognised as a dangerous and unnecessary part of our diet. And as Jerry Cartwright is well aware, a major contributor to heart disease.
What's Maisie got in her hand?
Toothbrush.
He's left to wonder when Australian authorities will recognise the danger.
I'm one of the lucky ones. Everything was in the right place at the right time, despite my stupidity and obstinance. How many people haven't been that lucky? And how many people have had their luck hurt, or their chances hurt, by trans fats that they don't even know about?
Hello, I'm Tom Steinfort. Thank you for watching 60 Minutes Australia. Subscribe to our channel now for brand new stories and exclusive clips every week. And don't miss out on our extra minute segments and full episodes of 60 Minutes, which are on 9now.com.au and the 9Now app.